Dr. John Demartini, world-renowned human behavior specialist, has addressed the mind-body connection in his work, that is, the power to bring about health or disease within the body. He maintains that balancing emotions assists in creating health and well-being, and why gratitude is one of the greatest healers. He joins me now in studio to discuss further. Great to have you with us. Welcome.
Thank you.
Why is gratitude one of the greatest healers?
We have stimulus bombarding us every day through our senses. And sometimes we don't see it in a balanced way. We see things more negative than positive, or more positive than negative. We get elated about things. We get resentful and depressed about things. We're all over the chart sometimes. And when we actually bring that volatility into a balanced state and discover the hidden order of why things happen and the meaning behind them and how they actually assist us, instead of sitting there and running our stories and our baggage, we definitely calm down the autonomic nervous system, bring it back into a balance, and allow it to go into the advanced part of the brain that actually brings order and governance. In the most advanced part of the brain, the forebrain, the medial prefrontal cortex, called the prosencephalon, or the forebrain, that area of the brain is the executive center that has governance. And it not only governs us in our behavior, but it governs our physiology and our autonomics and our cell functions. And also, there's a suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is an area right above the optic chiasma. That's a part of the brain that governs all of the circadian rhythms and all the physiological behavior that we have inside. So not only our physical behavior, but our internal organs. And it brings it into order and allows the rhythms to work like a pacemaker of the heart. And we also have literally recycling little cycles inside cells and tissues and organs. All of that comes into order, and the second we balance our mind, our heart opens up and we feel grateful. Mm-hmm. So gratitude is the key that opens up the gateway of the heart. Inside the heart, I like to think of as not just blood, but as love. We have a heart brain in addition to a gut brain and an actual cortical brain. And when there's a phase locking and a synchronicity between our heart, our intestines, and our cortex, everything is working in synchronicity. We have gratitude, and that brings a heart rate variability. Our cardiovascular system normalizes, our digestive system normalizes, our endocrine system normalizes, our muscles become coordinated and more relaxed and agile. The research goes on and on and on about how gratitude and love are still the greatest healers that we have in our body. Mm-hmm. Truly amazing.
What can we do to ensure that state of equilibrium within ourselves? Because life can be quite stressful.
Well, you have to realize,
our mind does one thing and our body does something else at times.
We have to realize that it's not what goes on out there that matters. It's how we perceive it. And we've all had situations where 10 people look at something and some people will look at it and go, oh my God, that's devastating. Other people go, well, no, it's a challenge, we'll solve it. Other people go, I see a totally different thing. I mean, we just had elections in the United States, and we had completely different views about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And then there were supporters and challengers, the full spectrum. The same thing occurs for every event that goes on in our life. And so learning how to choose a new perspective and finding out how things are on the way, not in the way, allows us to see things into the eyes of gratitude. Because really, no matter what happens in life, it's actually helping us. Sure. We've all had situations in our life where we've said, oh, that's a terrible event. And then a day, a week, a month, a year, or 5 years later, we look back and go, thank God that occurred. Why wait for the wisdom of the ages with the aging process when you can find out how it serves you now, find the blessing now, be grateful for it now, use it to your advantage, find the hidden order in your chaos, and bring wellness into your life instead of illness in your life. It's about the way we ask questions. We ask quality questions, we get a quality life.
I also think we tend to internalize everything that's going on around us and in our environment, in the world at large, and we need to give ourselves permission to separate ourselves from circumstances, situations as they play out.
Well, I've been blessed, as you know, to do the breakthrough experience. I've been doing it for 28 years. And I've yet to see something that a person's gone through that can't be turned into something they can be grateful for it, no matter what it's been. And people go, how dare you say that? This has happened and that's happened. I have yet to see something in that program that a person's come in with that we can't have them leave with gratitude. And they've been just tormented by things and tortured by things and still come out and see it in a way where they can use it to their advantage. And when they do, they have not only physiological healing, psychological healing, but they're more vital and more energized and more grateful. They start to see other aspects of life through a ripple effect in that way. Mm-hmm. They do more with their life when they can see things on the way with gratitude. I was born on Thanksgiving Day. And believe it or not, today is Thanksgiving Day. in America.
Happy birthday.
Well, tomorrow's my actual birthday today. The Thanksgiving Day oscillates on Thursday. Sometimes my birthday's on Friday or something. It's actually tomorrow. So I'll be 62 tomorrow.
Wow, that's awesome.
But that day, I was born on Thanksgiving Day. My mom said she had to eat a turkey sandwich because of that. But she told me when I was 4 years old and was putting me to sleep, she said, make sure you count your blessings and think about what you're grateful for before you go to bed at night, because those that are grateful for what they have, they get more to be grateful for. I wrote a book called Count Your Blessings for the sake of my mom before she passed away, because of the impact that had. So I'm a firm believer that gratitude is still the attitude that leads to the greatest altitude and solitude in life. So I think that's, you can't beat that. I've watched more healing occur with gratitude and love than anything. The great cardiovascular surgeon, Dr. Denton Cooley, who's in his 90s today, he's literally almost 100 years old. He still is in practice. I used to do rounds with him and watch him do surgery on his advanced surgical procedures. And I watched him do his rounds, and he would make sure that every patient had gratitude, because he told me that I do my procedure, but I got to have them with the heart open if I want them to heal. He knew the power of gratitude and love. So he used to tell them, Mrs. Jones, your surgery was a perfect success. I'm so proud to be able to work with you. Soon you're going to be able to play with your children, and soon you're going to be able to play in the garden again and do things and like. These are people in their 70s and 80s. And he'd wait for them to have a tear in their eyes and feel gratitude, want to give them a hug. Because he knew that his procedure was part of it, but he knew that the attitude of gratitude was the icing on the cake that really sealed the healing process.
Sure.
He knew that.
So what you're saying is by becoming a master of our perception, that we can actually heal ourselves as well, every day.
I watch it week after week after week in my Breakthrough Experience program. I watch people have sometimes terminal illnesses all of a sudden spontaneously change. I see people with all types of illnesses, gastrointestinal illnesses, heart and lungs, all kinds of things, hypertension. I watch them when they have a change in perspective, they have a change in physiology. And I've been studying that for all these years. I wrote a textbook, a 1,000-page textbook on just the correlations between psychology and physiology. There's no doubt in my mind that our perceptions and our attitude, particularly gratitude attitude, can change physiology and help people heal.
I want to talk about love as a healer and the power of love to heal. I read an amazing article where there was an experiment done on mice, and they injected breast cancer into the mice and separated the two groups. And the group that was receiving love and touch, in that group, some of them survived the breast cancer as opposed to the other group where all of them died, literally. So what is your view on love, on using love and touch as a healer?
Well, being a chiropractor, that's what I did. I always say love is your first technique. You have to do what you love, and you have to help people have love in their life. There's no doubt that that's part of it. Bernie Siegel, many years ago, wrote a book called Love, Medicine, and Miracles. And I was, in those days, I had a TV show in Houston on Dr. DeMartini's Health Hints. And I interacted with him because I lectured with him on a couple conferences. And I made a statement on television about the power of love and healing. And I got a lot of slack from people in the health professions. Well, how can you say that love's going to help people with cardiovascular disease? Because I've seen it live. I've watched it. There's no doubt in my mind it has a help on healing. And I've been considered sometimes controversial because of that. I don't care. I've seen it too many times to ignore it. There's some things you cannot ignore, and you have to stand up with what you know is true. And I am absolutely certain, and there's too many cases of people that said, the second I was able to resolve this issue with my cardiovascular disease, hypertension, I had a guy in Minneapolis that had hypertension, and he resolved the major conflict that he had with his mom and his dad and his wife. All of a sudden his hypertension went down. He didn't have medication, he didn't do statins, he didn't do anything. He got himself cleared, and his blood pressure went way down back to normal. I've seen this over and over again. So yes, love and gratitude are still two very powerful healing processes.
Why do you think love is so important to us, as people, as human beings?
Because
and
I
touch?
think that's our real nature. I think that, as I said, I've asked thousands of people if they had only 24 hours to live, what would they do with their life? Invariably, if they knew this was the last 24 hours of life, they go to the highest priority thing they could do, and they go to the people that have contributed to their life and say, thank you, I love you. And they'd have tears in their eye of gratitude. And they know that's priority. We all know that's priority. And we all know that when we're in that state, we're more authentic. And we know that when we're authentic, our autonomics tend to do better, and our physiology tends to do better. Anybody that challenges that, I think, they have to have their head like an ostrich in the sand. They can't see the obvious. So I'm a firm believer in gratitude and love and healing.
You're so inspiring. Thank you so much for being with us today,
Thank you.
Dr. John DeMartini.
Thank you.